Sometimes I feel like I'm reading a tale of two cities. Okay. I hear one thing all over the news, right? And then I hear and see other things all over the current videos that, come up with younger people, not necessarily only younger people, but people in general who are lamenting about their current situation. Let's talk about this for a minute and let's get into it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money and More channel. I guess I would consider this a semi and more kind of thing. How you doing today? As always, I hope that everybody listening is doing well. It's like I feel like I'm torn. Like I hear one thing from one area and I hear so many different things from other areas. Probably many of you are in the same situation as well. And what could it do? It could cause confusion. It really, really can. But there is one thing I want to totally express to anyone listening who's like in the middle of all of this and trying to figure things out for themselves. Like, we need all of us to find ways, in my opinion, during the current time to make an additional income, if at all possible. If at all possible in your situation, find ways to make an additional income. And we have a marvelous thing called the internet, okay? Which thankfully for the last we have been spoiled by it for the last 20 something years, okay? Back in the day, if you lost a job, you had to literally pound the pavement. What does that mean? Now, some people never even heard that expression. That meant you literally pounded the pavement. You walked around, looked around all over the place, or you picked up a newspaper. You responded to a want ad in the newspaper. And I do realize that today it's a different challenge, even though it's an online challenge, but it's a different challenge. Every generation faces its own unique set of challenges. So now I want to switch gears and talk to you about something. I was viewing a video last night that totally fascinated me. It did. And it was about a person. Let me see if I have the name of the channel. That way, if you're ever interested, you could check it out yourself. Okay, it's called Scrap and Pallet Man. Probably saying, Jan, what on planet Earth are you talking about? I'm always fascinated by people who figure out a way that they could earn money. Okay, and in many instances, it's like literally like labor, but they figured out a way. They were able to do it, earn money, and supplement their income, or they just like to do it. So on this channel called the, say it again, Scrap and Pallet Man. If I find a video, I'll hook it up in the description. I have to remember to do that. If I don't remember to do that, just go to that channel. It's just that simple. If you're interested. And this gentleman takes great pride in going around, like literally driving around his local area. I'm assuming it's his local area. I'm assuming picking up scraps of metal, metal things. You'd be amazed how much scrap metal people put at the edge of their curb, and it's work. It's not like like a cushy office job where people kick back in their comfortable office chairs, and this is work. I mean, like labor. Is it for everyone? No. Not everyone is cut out to physically be able to do that, nor do they have the equipment. Obviously, a gentleman has a special truck that's very very helpful that he could do such a job. But he also documents. And now here's how smart this person is. Not just, I mean, he seemed like a very kind man. I could tell just by his demeanor. But it strikes me this gentleman's very smart. He said he's a creator first and a scrap person second. If I'm not mistaken, I thought I could almost swear that I heard him say that in one of the videos, because I got into binge watching this on a Friday night. I even told Steve from the Everywhere with Steve Young 74 channel, and I told another friend, I said, "You're not going to believe what I'm watching." And they're like, "Well, what are you watching on a Friday night?" I said, "I'm watching a gentleman pick up scrap metal and junk, if you will, stuff, tossed to the street." And he drives around and he picks it up, puts it in his truck, and then of course which is here's the fun part. Now some of those similar type of shows, they just end it that at the end of their last pickup. This show is different. He goes all the way to the junkyard, and you get to see the tally of the stuff, what he earned, that he brings over to the ultimately to the junkyard. Okay. And, they pay you, for the scrap metals and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not familiar with this kind of business at all whatsoever. So, and I was watching and watching. And for the intensity of the labor that gentleman did, that he put into it, I honestly thought in some instances that he would receive more cash. But that's me, I thought he would have. But here's the beauty part. He was so happy. He was so happy. On one of his hauls, it came out to like $52 and change. Now, it's all varying. You don't know. You're never going to know the number. It all depends on what he picks up. But just imagine, just by going around, going to his neighborhood, putting the stuff on the truck, go here, there, and everywhere locally. And he even used a sentence that I've said, you probably might remember me saying it many times. He took a nothing and turned it into a something. Does that sound at all familiar to you? I'll rewind this. He took a nothing and turned it into a something. And at the end of the show, he prays, literally prays, and he's grateful, and you hear his gratitude, and very kind, God-loving gentleman. Very, very refreshing. So I was binge watching. I said, I'm sure a lot of people are not going to, be thinking of this at this moment in time to put this on, but I did. But I could be very wrong. There may be a whole bunch of people that were interested to see how a person took a nothing and turned it into a something. Now, this is a far cry from other things that I've seen on certain platforms. Not necessarily this platform that we're on. Another platform. There's another platform where there seems to be just a whole lot of whining, crying, woe is me, complaining, not taking anything and turning it into a something. Just sitting around, whining, crying, complaining, just trying to figure out ways to not, to not get up and do the right thing, in my opinion. I come from another generation of work ethic, where being proud of what we do, no matter what job you ever have. If you have a good job, the right kind of job, and you do your very best, that's what counts. Okay, you get up, you do an honest living, make an honest living, do the right thing, taking a nothing and turning it into a something. Okay, so then on one of those, let's revert back to that gentleman I was talking about from that channel, and I'll say it again, Scrap and Pallet Man. I think on one of the highest one that I saw thus far. So I saw about 5 of his videos. I was binge watching him. And I think the highest I saw was he finally broke the $100 because I kept praying, please be more than 100, please, because jumping off and on the truck, carrying the heavy stuff. I mean, to him, maybe he's so used to it, didn't feel so heavy. But I'm looking at him and getting a backache. I'm looking at him and getting sore muscles just watching the guy. What I admire the most about anyone, not just this particular person, but he's representative, in my opinion, of the many unsung heroes, okay, that perhaps in our society, we take for granted. Picking up scrap metal is not a glamorous job. It is not a cushy little, kickback. And there are people that still even cry, whine, and complain with the cushy kickback type of a thing. Now, he's grateful. He's happy. This is what also impressed me. Happy and grateful for everything. You'll see. If you say you don't have to watch the whole show, just at least take my face value on it. And when you're ready, if you're interested, check it out. Now, what does this mean for you? Making additional income is more important than ever these days. That's true. That's true. Why do I say that? Because there's this little thing, this two-letter entity. I don't even say it, okay? This two-letter entity that has, well, surfaced. And has surfaced. I mean, it could be great for some people. It could be not so great for other people. This is the time to get creative. Now, I'm not saying all of us should go and rent one of those trucks and pick up scrap metal. I wouldn't be able to do that if I wanted to do that. I just physically couldn't do that if I wanted to do that. But I do not want to do that. And I'm eternally grateful for the folks that do want to do that. Not every job is glamorama. I mean, here's this man so grateful and so kind and praying and appreciative for being able to take a nothing and turn it into a something, as opposed to flip the switch to another platform perhaps and hear I can't figure it out. You have to learn. We all have to learn how to figure it out, whatever the it may be. We have to learn that. We're so used to, many of us are so used to being spoon fed every little thing. Now let's look at Everywhere with Steve Young channel for a second, okay? This younger gentleman, he has been trying for years to hit the 1,000 subscriber thing, okay? All right, he's in the early 700s, and eventually he could do it. He could do it. But you don't hear him whine, crying, and complaining about it. He keeps trying every week. He puts up a show. He is not fully monetized. Let's make that clear. I don't know where anyone would be getting that impression. At 720 something subs, you're not allowed to be fully monetized, so to speak, because you have to be at least 1,000 subs. He has his watch hours in. He got his watch hours in a million years ago. This is what hurts. He got his watch hours in like 3 years ago. His watch hours were ready. Okay. But he's wise enough to have figured out a way that he could semi monetize himself, and he chooses to request the Amazon gift cards, which I think is a great idea. I think it's a great idea. So that way, and people, choose to show their appreciation, and a person can, consider that whatever he discusses, that's on him. He, discusses that. What point am I making here? We can always find a way to do things. We can always find a way to earn. Okay. Now, in my case, I've been blabbing behind a microphone on this thing officially over 7 years, officially over 3,000 videos. Okay. Don't think someone is making a ton of doing all that. No, they are not. They are not. But I enjoy giving out messages anyway, so I keep on keeping on. But if I really want to, I could pursue additional ways to do this. I've considered writing some sort of a book. I've considered it. I didn't say I'm doing it. I've considered it. But that I really wouldn't even embark on that idea till, if I do that at all, probably till 026. I have a lot of other things I want to wrap up going on in 025. So I have to want to enough. I have to want to enough to do that. But there are ways and there are ways. What is your way? Can you figure out a way to earn at least maybe $100 extra a month? Maybe taking one night of childcare. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Childcare providers make a good amount of money, but you better be a responsible person and all the good stuff. Well, of course, right? You wouldn't want to trust your children with someone who's not a responsible person, right? None of us would want to do that. So figure out something. But I do think we better start looking ahead to making additional income. That's all I'm saying. Because, I mean, you hear, like I said, the tale of two cities, right? I hear one story, hey, everything's so great, yippee, yahoo. And then I'm going to those other platforms and I'm hearing gloom and doom. It's like, well, which one is it? So what I say is this, forgetting what I hear on the left, on the right, in the middle, upside down, on the floor, and turn into a swirl. Doesn't matter. I take common sense. Common sense dictates that at any given time in history, it could not hurt to make additional income. Just get creative and figure it out. Even if you can't really go out and about too much, find ways online that you can make an additional income. Okay. And always, always, always remember that you could sell stuff. Selling stuff, you do not have to be a nuclear physicist to sell things. Okay. You just have to have inventory. And I got into it like on another recent video, just, look around and find it. I get into it, very, very much so about all the good reasons. But in my honest, right now, I really think we're headed to a very expensive time. Make additional income. It's really more important than ever these days. Thank you so much for being here, and I truly appreciate everybody's time. Don't forget to come back in the future for some more shows. What future? Every single morning at 5 a.m. Eastern. All right, everybody, take good care of yourself and your amazing family. Thank you. Super chats are forever, ever, ever appreciated. Thank you again. Bye bye.